knows nothing, can understand nothing. Plunge deeper into the darkness, and your heart will grow even stronger.
Good tidings, everybody, and welcome to the Ansem Report podcast. This is episode number 63 of the Ansem Report podcast. My name is Mike, and with me, as always, is my beautiful baby brother wearing his dope-ass Avengers pajama pants,
Hi.
Jason. Hi, Jason. How's it going?
Hi.
How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome.
I'm really comfy.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm in these Avengers pajama pants.
Yeah, I'm just wearing normal Champion pajama pants, which I don't know if you know, Champion is like a prestige brand now. So I'm actually comfy, but also a little... Is bougie the right word? Is that the word I want? I'm a little bougie right now.
Yeah.
I think that's correct. I don't know. I'm a boomer. I don't know.
Got some drip.
I've got some drip.
Yeah.
I'm dripping.
No.
Is that a different thing?
That's not.
So
You got the drip.
I got the drip.
You got some drip.
I'm dripping all over the place. Anyway, we have an action-packed show for you this week. We're going to talk about, even though it's not directly Kingdom Hearts, we're gonna do a little 90-degree shift for this episode.
Square Enix.
A 90-degree shift. We're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake, because we finally completed it. If you haven't been watching on twitch.tv/Super Spaghetti Bros, you should start. But we finally completed the Final Fantasy VII Remake last night. So we're going to talk about our overall thoughts on the game. We're going to talk about battle mechanics. We're going to talk about story. And then at the end, we are going to get into some spoilers. Heavy spoilers. Don't worry, I will give you a warning if you have not beaten the game yet, so that way you know when to tune out and come back after you've beaten the game. We're also going to do our question of the week like we always do. This week's question of the week. Do you remember what it is, Jason? It's what Kingdom Hearts character do you most identify with or are like? Because we read some Zodiacs last week on the live podcast, which if you missed the live podcast, you missed a good time.
Yeah.
On twitch.tv/Super Spaghetti Bros. It was a good old time. We'll do another live podcast. I believe the date I selected is May 12th.
Yeah.
Tuesday, May 12th, so look forward to that. But before we get to all that, we have another big announcement.
Big time.
Huge announcement. So on twitch.tv/Super Spaghetti Bros, we had a subscriber goal of, I believe it was 75 subscribers in, I don't know, it was like 2 months or 3 months, something like that.
Yeah.
And if we hit it, we would do a marathon stream of the Kingdom Hearts game of everybody's choice within limits.
Right.
And so what happened is we met that goal. We put out a poll, and a lot of you beautiful people voted on this poll, and Dream Drop Distance was actually the game to win the poll, which was very surprising to me. So we will be playing Dream Drop Distance in its entirety.
In one stream.
Then we added another goal to where at the end of that stream, we will speedrun Kingdom Hearts 3, because we've done that before, and that's only another 3 or 4 hours added on, right? So we said, you know what? This is all fun and great, and I'm glad we reached this goal. But I wanted to put a little more humanitarian spin on it.
Right.
And so we are turning this into a charity live stream.
Oh my God.
And we will be supporting Doctors Without Borders. MSF as they're known all over the world, but they're called Doctors Without Borders here in America. I think that's right. And they have a special program where they're supporting COVID-19 by trying to take down COVID-19. That's how they're supporting it.
Hell yeah.
I worded that wrong, but that's okay. But they're giving supplies to medical professionals. They're raising money to get masks and gloves and everything that those people need to do their job correctly and keep them safe. As someone who has family members who are medical professionals, I think that's very important.
Yeah.
And this COVID thing isn't going away, anytime soon. You know what I mean? We don't have a vaccine for it yet. And so the more support we can get those doctors and nurses and medical professionals, we want to. And so we're going to do a charity stream. It's going to be Saturday, May 9th, starting at 2 p.m. Okay?
Mark your calendars.
Now, if, this is all for charity. We're not receiving any money out of this. This is just something we decided to tack on to this live stream we were doing to, we're going to stay up for at least 30 hours. It seems like the way DDD goes. Straight
streaming.
And we're gonna have some cool incentives.
Yes.
For you guys to hit from donating. We're gonna donate money as well too. Don't worry about that. So if you have, have a few dollars that you're like, I could donate this for a good cause. Save that and hold on to it till May 9th when we do our stream and donate. Unless it's burning a hole in your pocket and you got to donate it sooner, then do what you got to do. But one of the incentives is Jason. I'm going to reveal this. This is big.
Oh my God.
One of the incentives.
What am I doing?
Is Jason turning into Zigbar. And we're talking.
I will shoot my eye out.
We're gonna claw his eye out, his left eye out, and put a patch over it. We're gonna scoop it. We're going to put silver lines in his hair, his long, beautiful hair.
Oh my God.
We're gonna put an Organization 13 cloak on him.
Oh my God.
And we're gonna make sure his face. Does he have facial hair?
No.
Well, then we gotta shave that.
We do.
That's gotta go too.
That's gotta go.
So. That's one of the incentives. We also have another incentive where we stop what we're doing and just do a live Ansem Report podcast in the middle of the stream.
Hell yeah.
So we have other things like that, a bunch of cool ideas. I have this like weird spinny wheel that I've had forever that we might incorporate that a little bit. So we have a lot of ideas of incentives.
Come drop by, say hi.
We might do like some drawings. If you donate $5, you're entered a drawing to win like an Ansem Report t-shirt. Stuff like that. So that's what we're looking to do to raise some money. And even if you can't donate, which is completely fine if you don't have the money to donate. I know there's some people out there who just don't have the money, and that's okay.
Right.
Spreading the word about this is just as big as donating.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
because,
it is.
Whether you're on Twitter or you're on Instagram or you're on TikTok or you're on Snapchat or you have your own podcast or you have your own YouTube channel or whatever it is that you have, if you could please spread the word about this charity stream. Like I said, we're going to go late into Sunday. So it's going to start at 2 o'clock on Saturday, May 9th, go into May 10th. I don't think we'll go into May 11th. It depends what happens. Who knows? It could get wild. It could get really wild.
We do have some things that could extend it as far as donation incentives.
Yeah, we have some donation incentives that will be tough to hit, but if we hit them, we'll keep going until people don't want to donate and watch us anymore. So but spreading the word is very important. We are going to be blasting this all over our socials, so Twitter, YouTube, the Discord, all that.
I will just be yelling it out my window.
He's just going to scream, charity live stream, May 9th.
I might bark at some cars driving by. I might get real crazy.
You haven't left the house in 45 days. What are you talking about?
Out the window.
What car are you getting into?
Did you hear me? I said I'm gonna bark at some cars
you're gonna
driving
bark
by.
At the cars.
Yeah.
I thought you meant you were in the back of the car like a dog.
I'm like an old.
You're like the Joker.
Well, it's gonna be 2 times barking, because I'm gonna be barking woof, woof. And 2, I'm gonna be barking and be like, live Ansem Report podcast.
Well, you're not doing that. Step right up for the Ansem Report podcast.
Yeah, I can't do that as they're fucking driving by at 40 miles an hour.
You might.
I gotta make
surprised.
it quick. Gotta make it quick.
Anyway, so that's what we're doing. I know we've talked about this for a little bit. I hope everybody can tune in May 9th. Even if they can't give, we love having people just hanging out with us while we stream. That's honestly...
And that supports us a lot to keep going, too.
Supports us to keep going so people can donate, even if you can't donate. So any help we can get from you guys is appreciated. I just think it'd be really cool if we could do this as a community, raise some money for a good cause.
Yeah.
Because I just think that'd be awesome. And it'd make me feel good. It'd make you feel good. It'd make everybody in our community feel good.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to do.
Hell yeah.
Cool, right?
Hell yeah, dude.
Pretty sweet. If you have any feedback or questions, you can hit us up in the Discord. Links down in the description. We'll be talking about it. I'm probably going to make a separate Discord channel just to talk about it in there.
Okay.
Moving on, Jason. Because of the nature of the rest of the podcast where we're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think it's time to do the question of the week. Question of the week, Jason. Before we get to it, though, I will say there have been some questions about the question of the month.
Oh, shit.
We haven't done question of the month. It's on hiatus right now. It will return.
We hope you will look forward to it.
We hope you will look forward to it. Once we get through this charity live stream, it will return. Anyway, the question of the week this week, Jason, was, as we said at the top of the show, similar to comparing zodiac signs to KH characters, what Kingdom Hearts character do you think best represents you? It could be something as simple as you like their clothes, you have the same color hair, etc., or it could be more complicated than that. So Just a Red Nocturne says, Luxord and I have the same style of ear piercings. 4 in each ear and in the same spot, not counting the nobody symbol. We also have the same facial hairstyle, but mine is reddish brown. This was unintentional, and I noticed remembered after I had my ears pierced. I act most like Sayax, though, an asshole with rage issues, LOL. But he still cares as I do. Knowing is half the battle. Thank you. Thank you for that. Can't believe Namine's mom says, appearance-wise, my hair and eyes are really similar to Sora, but without the spiky hair. Personality-wise, not really sure. Riku is relatable, I guess. Mark the Martyr X says, I'm a mix between Demix and Zigbar. I'm kind of lazy and carefree, but also a sarcastic pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I'm not to be messed with when I'm angry.
Okay.
LOL.
Okay. Chill, dude. I'm not trying to fight.
Yeah,
okay?
we're
chill,
easy,
dude.
Easy. We're not gonna mess
We're
with
just
you.
trying to run a podcast.
We're not gonna mess.
here.
We're just trying to podcast.
I have a family.
I'm so sorry I broke your one rule, Giant Martyr.
I have a family, dude.
Yeah,
Chill.
please. The box on a dark road trip says, Lark seen my girl. I am pissed all the time and I hate everything, just like her. Lizard emoji. I also always thought that I look a bit like her. Antenna aside, I often sport a similar haircut, pulling my hair back with hair clips or a hairband, and I even used to decolorize them regularly when I was younger, which is why the picture on my driver's license looks nothing like me. I also wear black 24/7, so there's that too. Thank you, Box.
I also have a layer of crust on me at all times.
I'm also very crusty. What will Elsa accept?
Wildcat Diana says, Donald Duck and I share the same birthday, fashion sense, and temper. Wait, you wear like a sailor shirt with no pants?
Hell yeah.
So
Dude,
I gotta pick him.
That sounds comfy.
I am the strict one of the groups, but I'm usually in, but will cry and Zeta flare those who mess with my adoptive best boys. Hashtag Donald Best Papa.
Hell yeah.
Can we get that hashtag trending? Donald Best Papa. I think people think that we're talking about Donald Trump, but
Yeah, no, that. Yeah.
but then they click it and they find out it was about Donald Duck.
they'll be triggered, but then they'll be like, it's wholesome.
Right. ZR122 says, I vibe with the Enzo, oddly enough. As a kid, I was always the one off in the corner reading instead of being active. I didn't have any old guys creeping on me, though. Good. That's good to hear.
That is, yeah, that's a plus.
It's good to hear you didn't have Ansem the Wise going.
Best of both worlds.
Going, Enzo, let's have some ice cream together.
Then he just stares at you while you eat the ice cream.
Right. And he doesn't have any? It's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Cloud's bro, formerly known as Kyrie's bro, says, I would say Roxas because I was always full of angst and anger as a kid/teen. Also kind of confused most of the time if I'm honest, haha. But now that I'm older, I feel like I relate to Axel. Maybe not always doing the right thing, but still trying for the people you care about. All right.
Okay.
Skills for Hannah says, I'd have to say Shion. I'm pretty reserved at first and meet most of my friends through mutual friends. I also tend to absorb my friends' powers until they're put in a coma. A close second is Tara because I'm a dumbass who is trying their best. For the record, she did like the strike through on the coma thing. So it's like, oh, don't read that, but I did it anyway. Tyler says, I'm sort of a mix and match of Demix, Axel, and pure strength. A cold and playful coward who can sometimes switch emotions on the fly, but also mostly doesn't speak.
Okay.
Super Saiyan Sora says, definitely Shion for not existing. Proof. How many of you have ever heard of me on this Discord? Thinking emoji.
Thinking emoji.
Just kidding. Real answer is Roxas for trying to live my own life and keeping my friends close.
Hell yeah.
Okay, here comes Sean's answer. I'm probably Titus. You have a few cool encounters with me at the beginning, but then something more important happens, and by the end of the journey, everybody's completely forgotten I'm still alive and living the good life on the island. But I'm never relevant to the extra storyline ever again.
Hell yeah.
Like,
Dude, it sounds like you got it going on.
Nice, dude. Good answer. The Drek says, a mix between Roxas, Sykes, and Demix. Like Roxas, my simp days began very early in life.
About a day old.
But seriously, we're both oblivious, absent-minded guys who try to hang on to the few friends we managed to make. Also, we're both frustrated with the fact that we're categorized and tied down by our relatives. The Roxas was lucky enough to be related to a powerful warrior like Sora. To keep it brief, genetics dictate a lot about ourselves, be it IQ, physicality, or IQ. No one is born equal. That's why individuality exists. It's a double-edged sword. Like Sayax, I'm hard on others while I try to keep things in order. I'm often unintentionally blunt and not very tactful until I have time to assess each situation. I can't stand incompetence from others because in my warped mind, no one should be more incompetent than me. Lastly, Demix and I are both lazy, incompetent tag-alongs of life with similar senses of humor, though I like to believe I'm less lazy than him. That I feel like Drek the Drek.
That was like a psychoanalysis.
Right. I feel like Drek the Drek nailed his.
He had to go through some. So he had to face his demons to answer this.
Yeah,
question.
he looked. He looked.
He was staring in the mirror
Yeah,
for
I
a
was gonna
couple
say,
hours.
He had his hands down on the counter,
looking
just
at himself.
one eyebrow raised,
Hunched
staring in the
over.
mirror.
He might have his shoulders flared up. He's
Just, who am I? And then he came up with that.
like, and then he was like, "I'm me."
I'm me, he says. Love that meme. Favorite meme.
Best meme.
K. Floors said, Marluxia is my KH character. 1, I love flowers. 2, I'm a natural leader with a cool, collected demeanor. 3, I make reoccurring appearances over the years. While I periodically disclose some personal details about myself, I'm mostly talking business. 4, I totally had that haircut 15 years ago when I thought I wanted layered emo hair. Never again. Never again. DDD says, I would choose Axel/Lee just because of his personality. I like the DDD name.
That's legit.
It is legit. King DDD.
DD.
King DDD.
DD.
Panda Bear, or Panda Ven, as he's known. This may be a complete shocker, but I don't know. I kind of feel like Ven. Based off my life, I was always the youngest in my group of friends, but I slowly made more friends closer to my age. LOL. Jason, do you have an answer for this one?
I don't know. I don't really feel like I relate to any of them very. Like I relate to all of them, obviously. Like all of them have like a relatable thing about them, right?
This is what I was gonna say. Is everybody's in there like picking Roxas and Sayax and Demix and Axel, and it's like, y'all, I'm Pence.
Dude, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I knew it.
like, I'm being real. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to hang out, have a good time with my friends, maybe get schoolwork done, and then go to the beach and get a motherfucking pretzel. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I want to do. You know? So it's like, everybody's
maybe
like,
2 pretzels.
I'm kind of a, I'm kind of a badass like Sayax. I'm like, no, guys. I'm the accessory shopkeeper where Roxas is his favorite customer, you know? That's me.
Roxas is my favorite customer.
Or I'm Pete. I'm just kidding. You guys can pick whatever you want. I was just joking. But I think I'm Pence. That's my final answer. Dog Street.
Yeah, I don't know.
If I have to pick like a main character, I guess I'm Pure Strength. Because that's me. Pure Strength. No, I'd probably pick Goofy.
Ooh.
Because like I'm there, you know, and I protect my friends. And people think I'm really fucking stupid, but actually I got a fucking 10 head.
Yeah.
You know? But I just play dumb.
Right.
Because it's funnier that way. Life is better. If you walk in a room and everybody immediately knows you're the smartest guy in the room, you're a target.
Yeah, true.
Where if I sneak up on them because they think I'm dumb,
And then you hit him with the RKO.
then I hit them with the RKO. Game over. Yuck, I'll do it again.
I don't know. I feel like for me, if I had to choose like a main line, probably be like Riku or something. Because it's like, I'll be going solo. Like riding solo, you know? And then like...
But with Mickey Mouse.
No, fuck. No.
When does Rico ever really
I ride
ride a
solo except for a certain Michael Mouse.
There you go. That's me. Hi, Michael Mouse here. Ha ha. That's really who I am. I'm the person that I just leave people in darkness. Then talk about I'm the king all the time. Ha ha. Anyway, that was our question of the week this week. So, next week's question of the week is actually going to coincide with a very special episode of the Ansem Report podcast.
Oh my god.
And Jason, I didn't tell you this yet.
What the fuck?
But this episode, next week,
What the...
is going to be the return of an episode that we haven't done in a very long time.
What the fuck?
And I'm going to need your help with it. And you promised to help with it the last time.
I promised?
Yes, you said you could do it. We are going to do the ultimate tier list of Kingdom Hearts characters.
Oh my god!
From Scold and Sterletzia to Donald and Goofy.
Oh my god.
We are going to make a tier list of every important Kingdom Hearts character, and Jason's going to set it up on Photoshop so I can do it easily during the podcast.
Yes.
But that being said, the question of the week is, give me your top 5 Kingdom Hearts characters and your bottom 5 Kingdom Hearts characters.
And why?
And why. Now, when I say top 5 and bottom 5, you can pick whatever character you want.
Yeah.
If you want to be like, yo, I hate the accessory shop guy that really likes Roxas, that's my least favorite character. Oh, I hate the struggle guy, least favorite character. You can do that if you want. If you want to keep it to the big boys, you can do that too. But we're doing every character next week. So I hope you will please look forward to that.
Oh my god.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're talking all Final Fantasy VII Remake. We're not hitting spoilers yet. I will give you a special thing when it's time for spoilers. I don't know. Could they hear that? Could you hear my hands chopping?
It's kind of like it kind of made me think like marker. Like
Yeah, like a
spoiler.
a cut. So yeah, we will be right back, and we'll be right back with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Welcome back to the Ansem Report podcast.
We back.
And we're here. Da 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 da. Barrett singing the song.
Dude, that's a fucking
That's
spoiler.
not a spoiler, dude.
That is a spoiler.
That's not a spoiler. That was in the trailer. We're talking Final Fantasy VII Remake. We finally defeated it at Super Spaghetti. Well, we rolled credits. That's what the term is. We rolled credits on Final Fantasy VII Remake on twitch.tv/Super Spaghetti Bros the other night. It was a long and arduous process, but I think I enjoyed the game. Jason, what are your thoughts? Just from a critical standpoint, what did you think of the game?
Like overall,
Yeah.
I think it was pretty good. Like, it does a good job of taking things that you know and love and putting fresh new, not necessarily even spins on them, but just taking something that was already good that was there and building on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think they did a great job.
If you could give it a IGN out of 10, what would you give it?
IGN out of 10. I'd probably give it like 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think I'm in the 8 or 9 range too. I don't know if it's a 10.
I think it's like 8. I'm gonna go with 8. Solid 8.
I think I'd go.
And
Wait,
I'll explain why later.
Are we doing a
guess.
100-point scale? Because I think I'd give it like an 8.8, 8.9. That's what I think. If we're doing 100-point scale,
I'd say like 8.5.
Yeah, you go 8.5? Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. I really enjoyed it. I'm the one who played it on Twitch. You haven't really played it. You've played a little bit when I
played
attached
a little
the
bit,
controller.
yeah.
But
It felt really good.
yeah, the combat is pretty incredible. It's at first I was a little overwhelmed by it. I think that's a pretty common thing because you're not sure what it wants you to do. Like
Yeah.
and
us
your
Kingdom Hearts players are trying to mash X.
right,
And they
and
don't want you to.
it's like your skill set is very minimal as
At the
most
beginning, for
games,
sure.
and once you really start rolling, and you get 3 characters, and you start getting the weapon upgrades, and you start getting the materia upgraded, and you're leveling up materia just like in the old days, and then you
Yup.
get the summons in, and you get it's
Yup.
like okay, this is the game.
It's all come together.
It wasn't a letdown for me in any stretch
Mm.
of the imagination. The characters looked how I would expect them to look based on like how I imagined them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That from going from those blocky polygonal boys and girls to who they are now. They did a fantastic job of keeping what they looked like, but also like reinventing it. You know, the areas in particular look really good as far as like that too. Like sometimes you would look. They had those in the original game. They had those like backgrounds that were like it was like a shot. And then you'd walk around it. You know what I mean? Like it was like a picture.
Yeah.
It was like a JPEG. There's still a little bit of that in the game. But
In like massive areas, though. Like
when you're looking down onto Midgar, like
Yeah.
you can see a little, but not all the time either.
No,
Just
yeah.
certain parts. But the areas look like how they should. I feel
Yeah.
like they kept a lot of the really important moments, into the game. Not to spoil anything, but they kept a lot of really important moments. They expounded on moments that maybe weren't as important before and made them intriguing. And then there's a couple times where it feels like they just put in some filler because they're like, well, we need another dungeon here.
Yeah.
There's just a couple times that happens. But to its credit, the one there's two in particular. There's the Ghost Train Yard area, which is in the original game. And then there's one in Shinra headquarters. And to me, the Ghost Train was filler in the original game too. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like they tried to make it more interesting.
To be a roadblock for them to not get back in time.
we were arguing with Sean on Twitch about this and how he said he liked the second one better than the Ghost Train, but he never played the original game. And I hated the Ghost Train in the original game, but they tried to make it better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
like I was like, oh, this is better than it was before. So I think that's why we had that expectation. And he had the expectation of this is filler. Anyway, we were getting a really deep conversation, but I enjoyed 99.9% of what I played. There were times where I got frustrated with the battle, but that was more because I'm on Twitch and I'm trying to,
Perform and
I'm trying to get
talk
through it
to people.
Like no one wants to
and-
watch me like fight a boss over and over and over and die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm fine doing that in my own personal time.
Well, especially when it's like most people that were there like had already played the game,
Right.
And like they want to see us get to like certain parts,
Right.
And if we're on that part for a really long time, it's kind of like, all right, let's get on with it.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited to try it in hard mode
Mm.
by myself. Like, I think that's actually going to be when I have time to sit there and hold the button and go, okay, this is what I should do. This is the creative strategy I should try instead of triple slash. You know what I mean? Like,
The thrust, yeah.
I fell into like
once you figured out what worked, and then it like was like spammable, it was pretty.
I fell into well, I'm on easy, and I fell into patterns that were
Yeah.
like, okay, let's get through this, But I thought the combat engine was way better than I even expected.
Yeah.
And just the RPG depth was still there, and that's something I was worried about, right? Because you take a game that's like super in depth RPG wise, you try to modernize it, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like it's like the Mass Effect thing, where like the first Mass Effect is a super deep RPG, and the second one's kind of an RPG, and the third one's even less of an RPG. You get worried. You go, oh, are they going to make this action based? Are they going to make this less than RPG? It's probably the most RPG action game that I've played in a while, because you can sit there and just like pause it and decide what to do and tell your teammates what to do. And I've seen people complain about, oh, there should be more ways to program my allies to do things. Like I should be able, in a certain situation, I should be able to tell Cloud to heal me or whatever if I'm not controlling Cloud. And there are some materia that do that, but to me, that kind of defeats the purpose of this game, where it still kind of feels like a turn-based battle system, but it's not. You know what I mean?
And I think some of it too is just like controls wise, people didn't realize like certain things they could do.
Right.
I don't think the tutorial was very good, at least for like I was watching it, so I guess I wasn't like playing it, but I felt like there was things that like right away should have been like explained more in depth, or like had you do it and then be like, okay, yeah, go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like for example, you could press like L2 or R2 to immediately not only like you want to switch to the other character,
You just
but
go to
you
their
would
menu.
switch to their menu and it would like freeze time.
Well, here's the thing. They do explain that, for one.
Right, but like it wasn't something that was like I don't think it was done well enough.
Okay.
Because it
That's
was
fair.
something that
That's
I
a-
was like having watched. I didn't even realize you could do that. Like probably
Well, part
8
of the
or
reason-
10 hours into the
Part of the
playthrough.
reason you didn't realize because I don't do it. And here's why I don't do it. Because they very slowly build ATB gauge on their own.
Yeah, so it's more rare.
So it's rare for me to be sitting there on Cloud or Tifa or whoever and then go, oh shit, Barrett's got a full ATB, and then switch to him and use it.
Yeah.
To me, it's get Cloud, use up his ATB gauge all he's built. Then go to Tifa, use up all her ATB gauge. Then go to Barrett, use up all his ATB. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
that was the path. There was rarely any point where I was like, oh shit, all three characters have full ATB. I'm just gonna stay on Cloud.
Well,
or
and like
whatever.
later you'd get like materia that would make it so that would happen
Right.
more. But
I always had that equipped on Cloud because I'm a dope, But yeah, I really enjoyed the combat engine. I really enjoyed the story, and we're not going to get into spoilers at this point, but I felt like it did a lot of things. It stayed pretty true to the story, with certain exceptions, obviously. But it gave us more to chew on with a lot of these characters. You know, Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse for a good example.
Yeah.
Even Aerith, I think, really benefited from this game.
Oh yeah.
She's a lot more likable to me in this game than she was in the original game. In the original game, it was like, why would Cloud ever want to even entertain being with this girl when Tifa's right there?
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I feel differently now. You know, I feel like, oh, Aerith's kind of cute. You know what I mean? Like, she's less of a damsel.
Yeah.
She's still damsel-y, but in a world where Kyrie is still very much a damsel in distress and Nomura, it's refreshing to see him have female characters who aren't that.
Yeah.
There's still a couple times where Cloud saves the day. You know what I mean? There's a couple times.
But there's sometimes where they save him too.
Right. And that's important, I think. The game does feel a little bit like a dating sim at times.
At certain points, yeah.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of the fun, I feel
Right.
like, is like, and there are different outcomes you could get in the game that I didn't realize at the time, but like there's a point where you're staying somewhere and you can either get Tifa, Aerith, or Barrett as the person you walk outside and talk to at night. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that where it's like, oh, that's cool. That's what the original game did, and it's cool that they did it more. Is there anything else you have to say about it from a critical standpoint before we move on to spoiler?
I would say, like, as far as like combat wise, and I said it to you on stream too. You have the two different modes, which is like your just mash X and use abilities mode, and then you have Punisher mode,
Right, with Cloud.
which Cloud kind of goes into more of like a 1v1 me bro stance, right? And you can block and parry, and it feels a lot like similar to a lot of other games where it's like, okay, I'm gonna block and then I'm gonna punish after that. That did not change at all the entire playthrough. Like for me, I feel like it would be better if as you're leveling up or in some type of way, or as you use it, maybe you do, maybe it does happen, but
Maybe there's a materia or something that makes it better. I don't know.
But like the only one that was there was Deadly Dodge, which made it so you could dodge roll inside of Punisher, but it didn't change at all the entire time.
Yeah, and you would have liked to see some more.
Yeah, I'd like to see some with it, because I mean, like the regular basic attacks, they just fill the role of building the ATB gauge.
Right.
I guess you could say that about Punisher, but to be more of a tactical way. But it would have been cool to see, because it's like, for example, in Kingdom Hearts, our favorite freaking games, your basic combo changes,
right?
And you can change it based on what abilities you have on and stuff like that. And maybe it's just like, it doesn't have to be like that in every game, but I would have liked to see it.
Well, maybe that's another thing too. We've talked about with this being a original game that's being cut down into pieces. How do they start the next game, right? And maybe that's where they go with it, where they go, okay, you have materia and stuff. Now you're going to start to see more combos from Cloud or Tifa or Barrett, you know, and maybe that's where they go with it. That would be cool. But no, I agree with you on that. That's kind of the combat in that part is a little like, it's pretty bare bones, like his basic stuff. The abilities he can do are awesome.
Yeah.
And they're really, I love the system of, hey, use it this way to gain that proficiency, and then you don't have to equip that weapon anymore.
And now you have it.
Now you have that ability. I love that system. I think that's awesome. Because at a certain point, it was like, oh, we got a new weapon. Let's see what the ability is so I can gain the ability and make my character stronger.
Right.
In a way that's not just XP and AP, right?
Yeah.
In a way that's like this unique to this character. You can't teach Barrett Aerith's laser beam ability. You know what I mean? And I just thought that was really cool. I enjoyed that a lot.
All the characters felt really strong too.
They felt strong. No one felt weak.
At the beginning, Barrett felt really weak, but after that, like when
he comes back, there's a part of the game where you don't have Barrett for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then when he comes back, he's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
And part of it is because he starts getting melee weapons where he does different stuff.
Right. Well, and you get like freaking like 6 of his weapons back to back.
He becomes a monster, but they all play differently too.
Yeah.
Then no one felt the same. Like you don't do the same things with Tifa and Cloud, even though they're the closest to each other. You don't do the same things with them, and that's what's really cool about the game too. And I'm interested to see how they handle having more party members.
How they'll keep it fresh.
Because basically, the whole game, you only have 2 or 3 party members, or even 1 sometimes. So they don't have you choose between Aerith or Barrett, right?
Yeah.
They do it for you by going, okay, you have all 4 party members for once.
But they're in teams.
Cloud and Barrett are going off this way. Aerith and Tifa are going off this way. And you're going to switch back and forth to do puzzles and stuff. They can't do that the whole game. So if this next game's not going to be as linear as this one, this game had to be linear based on the setting and all that.
Right.
How are they going to do that? You know,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure. Maybe it's played out more like a TV show where it's like, oh, here's the A story, here's the B story, here's the C story, and your characters are always split up, and it cuts between.
It's like some Lord of the Rings shit.
Yeah, kind of, right? And I don't know. Now we're getting into talking like spoilers, I guess. So let's. This is your final warning to all those who have not beaten Final Fantasy VII Remake and want to before listening to this. You have 10 seconds to leave. Okay, now that everybody's gone, Jason, blurt out the most spoilerific thing you can think of.
The most spoilerific thing I can think of. Zack is alive.
I was gonna say that would have been my answer too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this game. We'll get to the ending at the end.
Or I guess I should say Zack is alive.
Yeah. Zack lived later.
Before.
Anyway, so this game, we the first thing we have to talk about are what I've been calling the plot ghosts,
Yes.
or the arbiters of fate.
Yes.
Or the Watchers, or whatever people
Whatever
want to
the
call
fuck they're
the
called.
ghosts. Okay, so these ghosts have been like super big in like the media for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like they showed them very early on. People are like, "What the fuck are they doing with this game?
Yeah.
Are they Sephiroth ghosts?" Like people thought it was Sephiroth related because Sephiroth is very early on in the game too.
Yeah.
Which, when I first heard that and I saw the trailers, I went, "What? Sephiroth barely shows up in Midgar. You don't even see him."
Yeah. They mention him like once.
They
or twice.
mention him. He pulls Genova's, like the stuff that happens with Genova's body getting carried out. It's done off screen, and you see the trails of blood from where he killed everybody.
Yeah.
And you see the sword in President Shinra's back, and you go, "What the fuck?" Right? And that's it.
Yeah.
And then they go talk about Sephiroth after they get out of Midgar. This, you see Sephiroth after the first mission, you see Sephiroth right away.
Yeah.
Cloud has a vision with Sephiroth, and there he is. And you're like, what? And at first I hated that.
Yeah.
I was like, the whole point of Sephiroth is he's mysterious and you don't know a lot about him. And then when he finally shows up, you're like, holy shit. But what I realized after playing this game and starting to play this game, they couldn't do it like that because everybody knows who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it can't be played out the same way. And I think Nomura, there was an interview where he said that, hey, you guys all know who Sephiroth is. We can't do it the same way we did before.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's funny that Aerith says that line. The Shinra Electric Company isn't the real villain. I know it seems like they are, but they're not. Because that's the bait and switch the original game played with you. Is you're like, oh, this Shinra Electric Company, they're the real villain, and then you leave Midgar and you go, wait a minute, they're not the real villain. This guy is.
Yeah.
And then they play with that more later. But so I thought that was brilliant. I thought the way they handled it was probably the only way they could have handled it without it being like.
Just literally the exact same game.
Right, and being like for the ceremonial, oh, it's Sephiroth, oh no, kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I thought that was great as far as change goes. But the plot ghosts, they drove me a little crazy. Okay? Because I figured out very early on, I remember telling you after stream, those ghosts are there because something was going to change and they don't want it to change.
Yeah.
I figured that out very early on.
I was either like once you said that I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And I was like, or when they want, or like when something changes, like to signify that something has changed.
Right.
That's when they pop up.
Right. We knew they had something to do with the original story, basically.
And some weird timeline
Right.
shit.
So, because things did happen different in this game that they didn't give a shit about. Right? Like, they didn't give a shit about, I mean, I guess in the moment they didn't give a shit about. They didn't give a shit about, like, Cloud not going on the second mission. Or Cloud going on that mission with Jesse that was made for the game, right?
Yeah.
They didn't give a shit about that. But they care that Cloud wasn't gonna go eventually, and they show up and attack Seventh Heaven, and that's why, and they injure Jesse, and that's why Cloud goes on the second mission, right? So there's a lot of that, and towards the end of the game, they started to drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, plot goes to here, and now there's no agency to anything that's happening in the story.
Right.
Right? Bareth gets stabbed by a Sephiroth clone.
It very much reminded me of like when I played what's the game called? Dying Light. You play Dying Light and you literally have like 5 or 6 hours of gameplay to do something, to fix something, to do something. And then the bad guy is like all knowing and he comes out and foils your plan. And then you're like, okay, what the fuck now? Like it made it very frustrating. It made the story very unenjoyable.
Right.
And I think if it had kind of gone on any longer than what it does, we'd start to get pretty irritated.
But here's the thing. That's what's actually really, really, in my mind, is what's really brilliant about it. I was starting to get so mad. They stab Barrett, and then one just comes out of Barrett, and Barrett's fine. And I'm like, what? So there's no agency in any of this. Everything that's going to happen is going to happen, which would have been the case if they were making a straight remake anyway, right?
Yeah.
It just
it could have happened behind the scenes, and you like
it was just rubbing
showing
it in my face, right?
Yeah,
and that's why I didn't like it. So then the ultimate enemy of this particular game are those plot ghosts.
Yeah.
And metaphorically,
and like the timeline itself.
Right. Metaphorically, if we're reading into this, it's everybody going, well, you have to have Sid smoke cigarettes. You have to have Aerith get stabbed here. You have to have Jesse Wedge and Biggs die. You have to have it. That's what it's them, the creators of the game. And everybody likes to attribute everything to Nomura because he's the director. But Nomura can't just do this shit without other people being in on it, right? He doesn't just go, hey, I made a game, take it or leave it, fuckers. Like, that's not how a creative process works, right? So the creative team behind this game said, we're going to get, no matter what we do with this game, we're going to get shit for it. So why not change it? Why not be held by this constricting, hey, this is what you have to do because this is from my childhood and this is what I really love. And so they metaphorically destroyed that. They have you metaphorically destroy that.
Yeah.
So they can do whatever the fuck they want after this.
Yeah.
Now, they're not stupid. They're still going to hit some plot points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're still going to you're going to go to the Golden Saucer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not going to cut out favorite characters like Yuffie and Sid.
Well, and also, like, you got to think about, like, the story, like, writers for the story or whatever, or for video games in general, weren't as good back then as they are now. Because it's just, those are the same, like, people. They've been working on what they like to do, what they love. They get better at it.
Right, for sure.
And so, like, I think certain things would just, it wouldn't make sense, or it would be, like, kind of shitty to have to put into the story when it's like, I like this. I want to do something different with it. I want to change it a little bit and not feel like,
or even
that's
just
gonna
like
have backlash because
changing, like just changing a part of the story that you feel like didn't age well or you didn't like at the time even, but you didn't have a better solution and now you do. Like, imagine like a musician or a band going back and re-recording an album and like changing things about songs. You know what I mean? Yeah. When it has happened in the past, it's been, people have shit all over it because people want the nostalgic, but I know that there are some people mad about the ending and about everything, but I just think it's awesome. Yeah. The more I've thought about it since last night when we beat it, the more I've been like, holy shit, man, that was really cool how they did that.
Right. I had two major feelings. Like, one was like, damn, like they could do anything now.
Right.
But then I did, even though it was kind of weird though, because I never have beaten Final Fantasy VII. It kind of makes me a little sad because it's like, oh, well, now it's not going to be how it was. You know what I mean? Like, for me, this game was going to be like a way to play the original, but in a more updated way and get that exact story. And it's a little bit like, oh, it's not the same, you know?
Right, but here's the beauty of that is you can still play that other game.
Yeah, no, you know what I'm saying, though. It's like, it's a little like,
so now we just had to beat 7.
Exactly, yeah.
So the problem solved.
It was weird, though. That it was like having that feeling, but also it's like, at the same time, none of the stuff that happened in 7 like has to happen.
Right.
Like, it could be totally different.
And some of it still will, for sure.
Yeah.
They're not going to write a brand new game.
No,
right?
no.
I'm really I mean, we jumped right to the ending, so I guess we should talk about it in more depth. But basically, the plot ghosts try to stop Cloud, Aerith, Tifa, Barrett, and Red 13 from leaving Midgar because now Sephiroth is goading them to fight.
Like Sephiroth knows about the ghosts as well.
Right, Sephiroth knows about it, and so they've seen that the plot has changed. There's going to change if they leave Midgar, so they're trying to stop them, which in the end changes the whole plot anyway, so that's kind of stupid. But, you got to start somewhere with this shit.
Yeah.
So they go in to change fate. They fight future versions of themselves as these, like, crystallized characters, Barrett, Tifa, and Cloud. It's telling that Aerith doesn't have one. And...
Yeah.
They're fighting to keep their future the way it was, but they're fighting to change the future. So it's really cool. If you assess those enemies, it will kind of tell you basically that without saying it. Like you got to kind of put it together. And I just thought that was really a really cool way of doing it. And it's very Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
The thing people loved about Final Fantasy VII, well, not the thing that they loved, but something that people loved, is that it wasn't very Final Fantasy up to that point, right?
Yeah.
It was different. It was like this current age, like, or slight future, aesthetic, where before it had all been knights and
like super old
and like, Tolkien stuff, right?
Yeah.
But always in Final Fantasy, there has been a underlying thing of defying your fate, and you go and like. There have always been bosses that pop out of nowhere in these games. End bosses. Final Fantasy IX has a good example of it, where it's just like, oh, now you're fighting. I don't even remember what the character's Neo something, but he's like the master of all creation. You're like, where the fuck did this come from, right?
Yeah.
But that's what they did here. But they did it in a way that it made sense for once.
Right.
Where before it's like, oh, you're fighting the gambler of fate, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? This had nothing to do with the story. Maybe thematically. This now, it's thematic and it has something to do with the story.
Right. Well, and they do a good job of making you not like the ghosts too.
Oh my god. And that's what I was getting to too, is the brilliance of it is I hated these fucking ghosts, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, let something different happen. They tricked me into not wanting to play Final Fantasy VII.
Right.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
They tricked me into not wanting to play the
Like
original story.
oh, Jesse, he dies here, and then you're like, no, Jesse shouldn't die. And like her actions would have made it so that it was different.
Right.
But then the ghosts are like, no, you're gonna die here.
Right. And so it was, when I realized what was happening to me, I was like, they're these fucking mad lads. They did it. They tricked me into not wanting the original story to happen.
Right.
Because I hated these ghosts. And it's like that, whether they intended to do that or not, it's brilliant. You know? As for you fight those guys, and then you meet up with Sephiroth in what looks like the beginning of time or some shit.
They said it was like the edge of creation.
The edge of creation is what he calls it. And he offers Cloud to join him, use my strength to change fate. And Cloud's like, fuck you, dude. And so they fight in this anime. I think you said, what did
How
you
much
say?
anime do you want?
How much anime do you want? All of it.
All of it.
Well, we were watching it.
They
And
do
it was,
like every anime fight trope ever.
right. It was awesome. And then
the only thing they didn't do is go, ah!
yeah, they didn't charge up their power levels. Sephiroth says an interesting thing to him. He says, 7 seconds to the end, what will you do with the time given, or something along those lines.
What will you do with it or something?
What will you do with it? And it's like, 7 seconds. 7 seconds. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that's referring to. And then I thought about it. 7 seconds. Final Fantasy VII.
Oh my god.
Nah, I don't know what that means. But so basically, something changed. And they show Zack in a shot-for-shot scene from Crisis Core where he fends off all these soldiers to his last
Dying
strength.
breath.
His last strength, and then these other 3 soldiers come and pick him off when he kicks everybody's ass.
Yeah.
And he goes to save Cloud, and then these other soldiers pick him off. Well, they show him and Cloud walking to Midgar together. And that doesn't happen in Crisis Core. And they show it alongside all of our characters leaving, and him and Aerith kind of cross paths, and Aerith kind of, you can feel like she senses
Like they don't
something.
see each other, but like they like both like sense it, or like she definitely is
Right.
like, huh.
But Aerith doesn't go, oh yeah, my boyfriend Zach came back after 10 years. Like it does. It's not like typical like Back to the Future ass time travel. It's a singularity is what they call it. And so they change things. And the only other thing that we see that's like changed is that the stamp dog is different.
Yeah.
It's a different breed of dog. And it's like, what the fuck? That's the one thing, Nomura, that you're going to give us that's changed? Besides maybe Biggs being alive? We don't know if that was like a change thing or if he was alive the whole time and we just didn't know. Or so, yeah, it's interesting where they go next with this shit because they could go anywhere.
Yeah.
They could do anything. And that's exciting to me. They could, you know, find a place called Radiant Garden. You know, like they could
Right.
And
there were some times where I was like, oh shit. Like there's literally a place where they're standing that's literally the final world.
Right.
And I was like, no. Like, don't do this.
And you know, we joke about, oh, the voice actor that voiced Yozora voices Leslie in Japan. But that guy says some shit about his like girl that left him. That's just like, this guy has to be connected to Yozora in some fucking way, right? And there's a lot of weird shit like that a lot of reviewers, maybe some from the Incel Gamers Network, would say is too Kingdom Heartsy for them. And I love it, dude.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the story that I was like, I mean, I groaned in the moment because it's funny to, oh, great, this Kingdom Hearts shit. But like, there's very few things story-wise they could have done better to intrigue me about that game.
Yeah.
And about the future of that. You know? Like, if it would have ended with my computer wallpaper I have now, it's them standing at the edge of the highway. If it would have ended like that, I would have been like, this is fucking lame.
Yeah.
You know? I was waiting for that twist.
Get you, yeah.
And they got me, you know? And I just really enjoyed the game. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
My favorite scene is there's this final dungeon that I didn't like because I felt like it was filler, and it's the kind of thing I don't usually like in games where you control two party members and then the other three have to hit the switch so the other ones can go through. I don't really like that in games. I get why they do it. It makes sense.
And that's not easily done either. Like you have to find a place in order to be able to switch. And
right.
It's not fun.
But I did like they released this boss on you, and the first half of the fight, Cloud and Barrett fight it. It's like this fish saw monster.
Yeah.
And then it escapes from them by bursting through the wall, and then Aerith and Tifa fight it. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's creative. I like that. And then there's this cutscene where Aerith and Tifa save the day for Cloud and Barrett, but it shows Hojo watching them, and Cloud and Barrett are in front of this door trying to open it because it got shut when the boss came in, and Barrett's like stomping on it with
like
his
he's
foot,
kicking it, yeah.
and then Cloud just takes his fucking sword and swings at it. These two fucking mongrel idiots, you know, just we gotta get through the door somehow, Cloud. And he's like, watch this, you know, like, and they can't get through because they're idiots and they're men, and that's how, you know, that's like the funny trope. And then the girls save him, and I really enjoyed that. That made me laugh like really hard. I don't know, man. I just really enjoyed the whole thing overall.
Yeah.
Part of me wishes I would have just like fucking zipped through it right away instead of streaming it. But then also part of me is like, well, I liked that I was able to like, we'd play and then I'd think about what we played for a couple days or a couple hours and then come back to it.
Yeah.
You know? But then like, you know, part of the issue is that, you know, we're home with our family, we're quarantined and everything, and you know, I can't just sit there and stream 4 days in a row.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy, and like, you know, like Tara's here and you're here and my mom and dad are here and my little sister's here, and it's like I got to spend time with them too. I can't just stream that game every day.
Yeah.
But I wanted to. Like, part of me just, you know, I got to get through this, and I don't feel that way often about video games. Really, only Kingdom Hearts gets me that way.
Yeah.
But this game got me.
It got you.
It got me. I give it 8.9 to 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I give it like an 8.5.
Yeah.
I think the main thing it was missing was like endgame bosses.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe they add that with an update or something. That would be cool. I'd go back.
If it's a free update, hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. And maybe there are secret bosses we just don't know about. I didn't look into it much.
Yeah.
But I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, they kind of do like something similar to like KH with like the absent silhouettes, where it's like, yo, you can fight these bosses like right now. Like, these are hard bosses.
Right.
Like, fight right now.
Right. Right.
Type shit.
And I guess Bahamut's kind of there because it takes a long time to level up your materia to get to him.
Yeah.
But they treat it like a quest you do in the game, not like a after thing. But whatever.
Yeah. And I guess it's also hard though. Like they would have to come up with something brand new,
Right.
because there's not really anything in the area as far as I know.
Right.
Yeah, I'm hoping in the next game they have end-game bosses.
Yeah, definitely.
Or just end-game content in general, because there didn't really seem like there was
I mean, the hard mode is cool.
Yeah.
You can't play that before you beat the game.
Right.
And I think that's cool. It's almost like a new game plus, but you don't have to like do everything. You can pick chapter by chapter, which is cool. I dig that.
Okay. I was under the pressure that it was like, all right, True Vault Hunter mode, go through the fucking story exactly the same.
Yes and no.
Well, because like the pull of like True Vault Hunter mode is like, it's harder for one, and two, you get better stuff, you get more powerful stuff. Whereas with this, it's like you level up.
But you're challenged by the battles now. That's more challenging. That's the idea. All right. Anything else you want to say about the remake, dude? I don't know if we covered everything, but this is a Kingdom Hearts podcast, so I don't know that we can go for too much longer talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. I really enjoyed it. If you're a fan,
Yes.
I mean, people have said the battle system's like Kingdom Hearts. It is, but it's not.
Yeah.
But I think if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, it's easy enough to switch and play it and
you'll
enjoy it.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it. And if you want to know what the deal with
characters that you know.
Cloud from Kingdom Hearts finally got his own game. If you want to see it, go play it. Yeah.
I think it was dope. Like we said, I feel like there was only like 2 parts where it kind of lulled.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it lulled at all, because like at least for me in the train yard, I felt like it didn't really like lull.
The train yard was as bad as Sean said it was.
But like I don't know what like, for example, when I'm playing like there's certain games when I play them, I just go through it, like Arkham games, right? Like it's kind of just one of those things where if there is a point where there is any type of filler or whatever, if it's enough to pull you out of what's going on in the story or like anything like that, I think that's like pretty detrimental.
Well, and part of the problem with this spot, we're doing spoilers, so it doesn't matter, we can talk about it. But there's a part where Sephiroth shows up because he's going to take Genova's body.
Yeah.
And it's not really Sephiroth, it's the clone, one of the Sephiroth clones. And he shows up and destroys like the bridge in front of Cloud, and apparently everybody falls. It just looks like Cloud falls, but apparently everybody falls.
Yeah.
And then you have to go around collecting everybody, and then Hojo's like doing experiments, so he wants you to fight through his little like maze or whatever. And that's the part we were talking about where you switch between the parties and stuff. And it just felt like a slog because this cool thing happened that was different from the original story where Sephiroth was there and you met him, or you thought.
Yeah.
And no one talks about it.
No one.
No one goes, oh, was that really Sephiroth?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. You know, like no one even, Aerith mentions it once towards the end. She says the name Sephiroth, and you go, wow, someone is actually talking about him for once, you know? But I think that's why it lulled. Where the ghost train, it's like, yeah, you're rushing to get to the tower, but like.
Well, and I was also like, there's not really like, there's a little bit as far as like character development that happens in Hojo's lab. Yeah. Where they kind of have a little bit of bonding, but
you
like,
get to meet Red a little more.
Yeah. But I feel like in the Ghost Train, there's definitely a lot more character development where it's like Aerith is trying to support Tifa,
right?
And then there's the whole like, oh, Cloud has to protect them or whatever, but it's Ghosts, and apparently he don't fuck with Ghosts, like that type of shit.
And then even Tifa don't fuck with Ghosts because she's like, go ahead, Cloud.
Yeah,
you know. So, but yeah. No, that was the only real big lull for me was that Hojo's maze of fun.
And it was long too.
It was long, and I get it. You want an end game dungeon, right?
Yeah,
it makes sense. I get it, but isn't the whole Shinra headquarters the end game dungeon?
Right.
You know, it's like, I don't know.
Well, and like the whole area is like samey, and the enemies are exactly the same, and
then they put in those fucking whack-a-mole dudes.
Yeah, fuck those.
Yeah,
that was gruesome. That was the only gruesome part of the game.
Gruesome enemy design for sure.
I was gonna ask before that, what would you say you'd want added to it?
What do you mean? Like
what would you, or at least in the next
For the next game, or
like, what would you like to see improved about it or added or whatever?
well, the combat system needs to get deeper, like you said, with like
aerial combat.
That was another thing. I was gonna say that when we talked about it earlier, but I forgot. Can I get a fucking aerial recover, dude? Because the amount of times I jump up in the air with Cloud or Tifa and try to switch, and I get hit out of air, and then the amount of time it takes for me to fall and roll is disgusting. Sora would never allow that to happen. He'd go whoop, and be there. The aerial
retaliate.
The aerial combat needs to be better for sure.
Yeah, well, especially when it's like there's a lot of times where there's flying enemies
and there's no Barret.
There's no Barret.
So you just got to build your gauge somehow.
Yeah.
Mostly by waiting and then cast fire or whatever, right? So yeah, no, I agree. The aerial combat needs to get better. I'd like to see more materia options.
Yeah.
Even though I was surprised by the amount of materia they did put in the game.
Yeah.
It was more plentiful than I expected, and a lot of new ones that I didn't expect.
Right.
Which would make sense. They're changing the mechanics. I don't know if I'd like to see this, but if they're gonna make the next game more open worldy, which I think they kind of have to a little bit, give Cloud some more mobility options.
Yeah. He doesn't have a spammable.
He doesn't have a spammable roll. He can't climb anything unless there's an arrow in front of it. And just give me Breath of the Wild's exploring engine with Cloud. And let me
hold the jump button.
Let me find Mako shards. Ha ha ha! I found you. Kind of shit. To expand my inventory or something. I'm just kidding. But seriously, Nomura, do it. What I want now is I just want info. What's happening next?
Right.
And I get with the virus and everything, it's hard to say because everything's been delayed. But
because I think the level design is really good. The only thing I would say is the movement would be cooler to have a little bit.
Yeah. And I'm a big fan of summons. Give me more summons. I liked the DLC summons. I thought they were funny.
Yeah.
I like the fat chocobo summon.
Dude,
I think
the baby chocobo or whatever is
terrifying.
Disgusting.
Yeah. But the hefty chocobo dude, he's a heffing chonker and Lord, he coming.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we'd use a lot of these summons, but we'd end the battle before we'd see their final attack.
Yeah.
And we saw both the fat chocobo and the chocobo mog. Yeah. And they were both dope as shit.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, the summons were really good. Being able to tell them what to do and they're fighting next to you. And then at the end, a lot of times, for example, when you're using a limit in or a link or whatever in Kingdom Hearts, the final move will whiff and you're well, what the fuck, dude? In this it's guaranteed. The enemy, no matter what it is frozen in place.
Well, and it will wait if if you hit an HP gate with the enemy, it will wait to do it too.
Yeah,
and that's pretty cool.
That's what's so sick.
Yeah,
and it looks so good.
And I think it's funny because I think they hit a nice idea with 15 the way that did summons, right?
Yeah.
There's these larger than life incredible things that do this giant attack that just wipes everything. But this is the evolution of that idea, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Where it's Shiva's going to come in, but she's not going to be 50 foot tall, but she's going to be dope. And you can tell her kind of what to do, and then she just annihilates everything at the end. And it doesn't kill everything, but it's powerful.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel weak. And you can't
it's
just...
not like an FF8 where you're just, all right, time to diamond dust them over and over.
Right, and you can't just spam it in the old games, which is cool. And I think that makes it even better when it does happen, right?
Yeah.
And you're not spamming it. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to think about what that means for if they were to do a FF8 remake, to have it where it's your GFs are with you type thing, or you have to summon them, or what?
Yeah, who knows? That would be cool too.
And leveling them up.
Well, I'm trying to think they did Ifrit, Shiva, Bahamut, Leviathan were the main four.
Yeah.
And then they had the Fat Chocobo, and then the 3 DLC ones, the Chocomog, or no.
Yeah, sure.
Chocomog, and then the 3 DLC ones were Cactuar, Carbuncle, and Chocobo Chick.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how they're going to do other ones. Because I'm thinking about Rama in 15 and how he's fucking 100 feet tall and he just, it would be pretty fucking sick if you're out in the field if they're bigger.
Yeah, that would be cool. In certain situations, at least.
Because they're not really going, huh, huh, and hitting things.
Right.
They're just, they're doing a couple spells, and then when you use one of their things, they do a bigger spell.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool if they're just kind of there, looking big, and then they do this giant attack.
Right. Well, because in 15 they're definitely situation commands, and it's you only get certain ones based on what situation you're in or where you are.
And that's not as cool.
If you add that, as like a layer to
Right.
what's they already have. Where hey, if you're in this area and it happens, it does some crazy shit.
Right. That would be cool. Yeah, like Leviathan, you have to be by water in 15. And it's like,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
often are you fucking by water?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, so most of the time you just get Rama, and it's like, okay, cool. I've seen like it was really cool the first time I saw it, and now I'm seeing this. You know, at least this one you can equip them, so you know what one you're gonna get when you get in that situation. And I
Yeah.
really enjoy that too. Anyway, spoilers have stopped here. The links into the time is in the description or whatever. Jason, thank you so much for joining me this week on the podcast. Next week, like I said, we're doing tier lists of Kingdom Hearts characters, so look forward to that.
The ultimate tier list.
I hope you will please look forward to that.
The ultimate tier list.
The ultimate tier list final mix.
remake,
Remake,
reconnect.
3.2 over 6. I hope you guys look forward to that. And remember, May 9th, we're doing the charity stream. We'll have more
Yeah.
info about it in the Discord. And
And the 12th.
on the 12th is the next... Man, maybe we shouldn't do the 12th. Maybe that's too soon after. Whatever. Fuck it. Who cares? Whatever. Anyway, Jason, thank you so much for joining me this week. I know I already said that, but I'm saying it again. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next week. Be sure to join Discord. Hit them with it.
May your heart be your guiding key.
Thank you.
Fuck off.
Fuck off.
Fuck off.
I can't wait for the day when our outro is like 10 minutes long because there's all these different things we've said afterwards that we have to keep saying.
Fuck off.